because that person is sick. And if that person was sick, you're talking about some past time when he was sick, and you're imagining a situation which was contrary to the reality, you would say if he had not been sick. So basically, it's very simple to differentiate between the second and the third conditional, which is about the time. The time is everything. When you're talking about now, you're talking about past time. When you're talking about past time, the third conditional. And as far as the form is concerned, the form is simple and easy, right? The third conditional requires you to use past perfect. The second conditional requires you to use past simple. So that's what I think is useful.
Yeah.
The situation, the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Vinay. That was a very concise and great tip for everyone. If you guys are still struggling with that, Lavna will be here to answer a lot more questions for us throughout the process. But thank you, Vinay. And he was the one who was helping us before with the second and third conditionals by co-hosting with us before. So I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Lavna, you should be a co-host now, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah,
Well,
perfect. So hi, would you like to introduce yourself quickly to everyone else on the call?
okay, I'm Lubna from Egypt. I'm currently working as an English instructor. I'm a freelance English instructor, and I'm working only online these days. I'm actually teaching only Arabs, but this is the first time to be teaching non-Arabs. So this is a very good opportunity, actually.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Kayla, for giving me this opportunity to be joining your team and to be having this lovely experience.
Yeah, thank you for being here too. You're a great help. And I want you guys to know that I've been speaking with Lavna for a while now, and she's just a really passionate teacher. She's very methodical with her thinking and her explanations, and she's worked really hard to master the English language over so many years. So she can give you really, really great advice. And anytime you guys have questions throughout her presentation on this, please be asking questions. If you need extra help, we can unmute you. You can come out and speak out your mind and your questions with us, ask us out loud. And we'll also be having some activities for you to interact with us and actually use the mixed conditionals that we're going to be talking about, because it's important for you guys to be able to interact and use it as well. So yeah, anything you guys want, be putting it in the chat. I'll be making sure you guys are interacting. And Lavna, whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and start us off.
Okay, Kayla, before I start, do you want to say anything about the revision or a review about if conditionals?
Yeah, so Vinay gave us a little bit of a review before on the second and third conditionals. And we have a lot of different if conditionals, right? So, which is why the conditionals can sometimes feel confusing for non-native speakers. So here, I'll review again what we talked about with the second and the third conditionals, because that's what we're going to be needing as a basis for today. But again, if you haven't watched those videos, you can find the recordings for those classes that we did in the English Without Borders group in the unit section. Okay, so that's where you can find that. So for the second conditional, using if, we often use if plus the simple past, right? So for example, if it rained, and then in the next clause, which would be what the results would be of the conditional of the if. So if it rained, you would get wet. And then here we're going to use a modal verb. We could use like could, would, might, for example. And this is a very quick revision, right? Because we're not going to go over it all again before we start with the mixed conditionals. And then for the third conditional, we use, again, this if clause. So if plus, but this time we don't use the past simple, we use the past perfect. Okay, so we could say if it had rained, and then for the main clause, you would have gotten wet. So we see the perfect conditional, with the past perfect. So if it had rained, you would have gotten wet, versus if it rained, you would get wet. Okay. And so we're going to see lots of different examples of these things with Lavna.
Yes, actually, we have a review of, on if conditionals. We have the zero conditional, which refers to the truths or the general truths and facts. And of course, you all know that we use the present simple tense in the two clauses of the whole sentence, if clause and the main clause. And also we have the first conditional, which refers to something that may happen in the future, like a likely future result or action that may happen in the future. For example, if this thing happens, this thing will happen or may happen. This is the first conditional. And the second conditional and the third conditional, which you have already discussed with Kayla and Vinay, are very important for today's lesson, because if you don't understand them, you're not going to understand anything today. So we have to do like a quick review on both of them today. That second conditional is actually referring to something that is hypothetical. It is not real, something which is imaginary. We are just imagining that if something happened, which is in the present, but we are using here the past tense because it is not a real present. So we use here the past simple tense to talk about present action, which is imaginary or hypothetical. And the main clause is actually using would plus the base form. And the third conditional is actually relating to the past tense. Okay, it is like we are here referring to a past action that actually didn't happen, like an imaginary past action that we imagine or we suppose that if this thing happened, what would have happened? You understand? So neither this happened nor that happened. So here we have like a past action that didn't happen, and therefore the result also didn't happen. Okay. Here I want you to understand something which is very important, the key point for today. There is a difference between tense and time. Can somebody tell me what is the difference between a tense and a time?
Yes, this is your chance to come out, guys, and answer some questions for us. So every time we do this, please feel courageous and come out and answer. Even if it's just a guess or an educated guess, we're here to help you, and everyone else is here to learn too. So please go ahead and let us know in the chat if you would like to answer this question. This is something we talked a little bit about with Vinay as well. So this is a great review. So the difference between tense and time. Does anyone know? I'm sure some of you know it. I see Fazal raised his hand.
Yes, please.
So I'll go ahead and unmute you, Fazal. Hello?
Hi, Kayla.
Hi, Fazal. How are you?
Am I able? I'm fine. What about you?
Doing very well, doing very well. So would you like to answer Lavna's question, please, of what's the difference between tense and time?
These grammarians actually use, most of us actually use tenses and time aspect. But however, every tense has got time aspect. It is different. For example, present tense can be used for the future time.
Yes, exactly.
For example,
so it is not a matter of tenses here. We're not.
For example, see you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow.
Oh yes, yep. Very good example, Fazal. Very good.
It is actually present tense, but its aspect is about future. We are talking about future, so that's the difference.
Exactly. That was a perfect explanation, Fazal. Thank you. Thank you for coming out and being the first one to participate by answering one of Lavna's questions. So now we'll listen to her feedback on what your answer was.
I think somebody else is raising his hand.
Let me see here. Oh, I don't see anyone else. Who do you see?
I think Karim.
Oh, you can go ahead and unmute them if you see them. I'm not. Well, I'm not sure if that was for our question though. So go ahead and just keep going, and I'll go ahead and figure it out on my end.
Okay, so the difference between the tense and the time is very important for today, because you all actually know that if we are talking about past, we are not using the past simple tense. And if we are talking about imaginary present action, we're not actually using the present tense itself. So we have to make like a shift backwards to use the past of this action. For example, if you are using the present simple or you are using the present action, you have to use the past of this present. So in second conditional, you can use the past simple tense to refer to the present action. And if in third conditions, you have to use the past perfect, which is older than the past simple, to refer to past actions. Okay, let's move to the next part. Actually, in order to understand the mixed conditionals, you have to bear in mind very important thing. Mixed conditionals actually don't relate to a certain time. So they just move through times. So you can have, for example, in the first part of the sentence, you can have like a past action with a present result, and vice versa. You can find here in any sentence with a mixed conditional a present action or a future action with a past result. Let's see. In order to understand the mixed conditionals, you have to listen to this nice story. Are you ready for the story?
Yes, we are ready. And I love stories. They make it very tangible for us to see examples of when we use these conditionals. So yeah, let's go.
Okay, have you ever been lost before? Anybody? Have you ever been lost?
Go ahead and let us know in the chat. I know I have, here in Spain. Without a phone, I was terrified.
What happened? What happened to you, Kayla?
So it was when I had first come to Spain to do my master's. So I didn't have my phone switched over. I had no data, and I was trying to find the new apartment that I was supposed to be there at a certain time. And I couldn't find it. So I had been walking around for like an hour in the city that I had never been to before, terrified that I was never going to find my apartment, and I couldn't call anyone. So, but eventually I found it, trying to ask people for maps. So.
So Kayla, if you had like a map, and you are now in Spain for the first time, what would happen now? If you had a map.
Yeah. So if I had a map, I wouldn't have gotten lost, and I would have been more confident in walking around the city. Right. I wouldn't have had that lack of confidence.
So here we actually use the mixed conditional in our sentence. Here I asked Kayla a question. If you are now in Spain for the first time, and you got lost. Okay. Now, if you had a map, or if you had prepared or taken a map with you, what would happen now? So here we have a past condition and a present action. The past condition is that she should have taken a map with her. So if she had taken this map, she wouldn't now be lost. She wouldn't be lost now. She would be more confident about moving around in Spain. Okay, here we have a story. Last weekend, my friend and I went camping. At the beginning of our trip, we got lost. Which direction should we go in? I don't know, think we are lost. I think we are lost. So if we had brought a map, okay, focus on the sentence. If we had brought a map, we would know where to go. Okay, what do you think about this sentence? In which tense is this sentence first?
Go ahead and be answering her questions in the chat meanwhile, guys. And for those of you who who want to participate, make sure you let us know that you want to be participating, okay?
So can you type in the chat box? I want to ask you another question. Did they already bring a map with them? Is this real?
Okay, I see some no's in here. Awesome, guys. Miss Jenny says no. Asa, Manda, they all say no. Ghazal says no, imaginary.
Yes. Okay, what about the next or the second part of the sentence? Do they already know where to go?
Lorna says no, imaginary. I saw Lorna and I thought it was Labna. I was like, you just answered your own question. No, no, no. Okay, good. I think you guys caught this one. Very good.
So here we have an imaginary past action, here represented by the past perfect tense. If we had brought a map, we would know where to go. And here the result is in the present time. We would know where to go. But because it is like an imaginary situation or an imaginary present action, here we don't have the present simple tense. We would better use the past simple tense. So we would know where to go. Okay, that's okay. Let's ask someone. Excuse me, do you know where the tents are? Just go this way and make a right. Thanks. And do you know where the lake is? I don't know. If I knew, I would have gone there this morning. Okay, focus on this sentence and tell me what are the tenses used here? And what is the difference between this sentence and the previous one? Focus on the first part of this sentence. What tense is this? If I knew.
Okay, Asa says past simple. Manda says we're using the second conditional.
Yes, exactly. So this reminds us of the second conditional in which we use the past simple tense in the first part. But here there is a difference between the second conditional and the mixed conditional. Here, what is the difference? If I knew, if it is a second conditional, what would be the second part of this sentence? If I knew. Can I use here would have? Or would have gone in this way?
Hagar says no. Asa says no. Manda says I would go, is how she would say it.
Exactly. So if it is a second conditional, we would say, if I knew, I would go there this morning. But this is not the second conditional. This is actually the mixed conditional. Here, the first part is in the second conditional, and the second part is in the third conditional. So the mixed conditional uses a combination between the second and the third conditionals. Okay, it depends on what action or what the tense of the action and what the tense of the result. So in what tense is our action and in what tense is our result here? Where is the result and where is the action? I cannot follow the responses.
Yeah, no worries. I'm watching for him. So Hagar says action in the past. Asa says action present.
Okay. So here, if I knew, do you think that this is a past or a present action? What do you think?
I'll give you guys another second to answer, see what you say.
This is actually the past simple tense. And if you remember, we've said that the past simple tense is used to represent the present tense, which is imaginary or hypothetical. So do you think this is past or present?
I still see conflicting things. Some people say no, action past. Some people say not present. Some people say present.
Okay, actually, this is present, but it is represented by the past simple tense. If we go back to the first sentence, here we have okay, look at this sentence and tell me in what tense is the first part of this sentence, the action of this sentence. If we had brought a map.
So I see here that Esa said that new is the past form. So remember here the importance of Lavna's first question that she asked us, which was, what is the difference between time and tense? Okay, so with the tense that we use, we may be referring to a different time, like the example that Fazal gave us, that if I say, see you tomorrow, I'm speaking in the present, but I'm talking about tomorrow. So that is a very simplified example. And so now here we're seeing more complex examples of this.
So do you understand me? Here we have in the first part, in the if clause, we have the past perfect tense actually to refer back to the past time. But what the result here? What is the result? The result here is actually, we would know where to go. This is in the present. We would know where to go. Here in the present, we use the would plus the base form. But in the second sentence, we have a past action, a present action used or represented by the past simple tense, and I would have gone there this morning. This to represent a past action, would have gone. This is actually the the second part of the third conditional, would have plus past participle. Okay, so a mixed conditional sentence is like a combination of a second conditional sentence and a third conditional sentence, as we have said before. So this is the explanation in detail. If we have, of course, you know that the whole sentence is divided into two parts. We have the if clause and we have the main clause. The if clause usually represents the hypothetical action. Okay, so if and a result. If represents the action, the imaginary action, and the main clause represents the result, the imaginary result. In all mixed conditional sentences, there is a conditional clause that starts with if and a result clause. Of course, you know that we can convert the order of this sentence, so we can use the main clause at the beginning and the if clause at the end. For example, here we have the if clause. If we had brought a map, we wouldn't be lost. Now, this is here the main clause, we wouldn't be lost, and the if clause, if we had brought a map. We can use it like that. We wouldn't be lost now if we had brought a map. Okay, we use mixed conditional sentences to talk about two different types of situations, and this is very important, so please focus here. We can use the mixed conditionals to express a past unreal conditional, okay? A past unreal conditional with a present or a future unreal result. Okay, so we have a condition and a result. The past condition with a present or future result, or the second one, the present or future unreal condition with a past or unreal result, past unreal result. Let's have some examples. For the first one, we have past unreal condition. So I don't know something, I hadn't, something that hadn't happened. So something now in the present wouldn't happen. If, for example, I hadn't, for example, I want to tell you something. If I hadn't passed my exams last year, I wouldn't be in London this year. If I hadn't passed my exams last year, I wouldn't be now in London. You understand? There is a relationship between the past and the present. So here we have the past unreal condition and we have the present unreal also condition. Okay, so if past perfect and the result here, if the unreal condition is in the past, we use the past perfect tense in the conditional clause. Okay, so here in the first part of the sentence, we have to use the past perfect as exactly as if we are using the third conditional. We use the past perfect tense. So, for example, if I had slept more last night, this is in the past. last night, if I had slept more last night, which is not real, I'm imagining that if I had slept more last night, I would have more energy now. So the past action, I want to ask you a question. Did I sleep more last night or not? Did I sleep well or not?
Go ahead and let us know in the chat if they slept last night or no. Asa says no, Rosgar says no, Hagar says no. Awesome. You guys are getting it. And please, any other questions that you have during, please be putting them in the chat so that we can be answering them to you, okay? More no's. Okay, so if I had slept, means that last night I didn't sleep very much.
Exactly. So this means that I didn't sleep well last night. So this is imaginary if I'm saying if I had slept more last night. So is the result here also imaginary or real? I would have more energy now. Do I have more energy?
Reza says unreal. Kareem says, I regret not sleeping. I see a lot of no's. Asa says imaginary. Great.
Yes, so here I didn't sleep well and now I don't have more energy. This is the point. Okay, we can have also a present or future unreal condition. The condition now is in the present or in the future, but the result is in the past, which is unreal. So if we are referring to the present simple of the present action or the present conditional, we want to use here the simple past, like in the second conditional. If the unreal condition is in the present or future, we use the simple past tense in the conditional clause. And also the result will be like the second part of the third conditional, would, have plus past participle. Okay, if I knew the directions, okay, if I knew this is in the past simple tense, but to refer to the present, I would have gone to the water yesterday. Okay, focus, I want to ask you a question. Do I know the directions or not? Do I know them?
I see a lot of no's. Perfect. I see no in all capitals. Okay, great. I think you guys are, before we were having like mixed opinions on stuff, and now people are getting pretty uniform in their answers. So I think that's good. I think they're understanding.
Yes. So if you say that I don't already know the directions, will the result be real? I would have gone to the water yesterday. So did I go to the water yesterday?
I see more no's.
Yes.
Imaginary. No, no, no. Good.
That means that I didn't go to the water, and also I don't have the information about directions now in the present. So the present action has an effect or like a result, but in the past. How can the present act how can the present affect the past? How can the present action affect the past? For example, if I tell you, if I am more athletic, if I am now, or if I were more athletic. So here I'm talking in the present. If I were more athletic, I would have won the match. Now, if I were more athletic, this is in the present, which is not real, I would have won the match yesterday. Okay, so I'm not athletic now, and I didn't win the match consequently. Okay, another example, if I knew how to swim, okay, I want you to guess or to give me like the rest of the sentence. Can you like expect what would happen?
Okay, so for anyone that wants to say this out loud, go ahead and tell us, and we'll let a couple people. Essa says, I would have swimming easily. Okay, so you have a bit of a mistake there, Essa. Lavna, what would you recommend Essa looks at to try and correct their grammar there?
Yes, please. Do you want to participate?
Yeah, so Essa, we'll correct your grammar here. We'll have you, let me find you quickly. Feel free to, oh, I found you. So I'll be unmuting you now.
Before you start, I just want you to focus on the action. In what tense is this action? And it refers to which time?
I'm trying to unmute you, Essa, but I think perhaps your audio is not connected. Make sure your microphone is on, please, so that I can unmute you. But while Essa's figuring that out, we'll come back to you, Essa, no worries. Ressa gives us an example here and says, I would have gone to the river. If I knew how to swim, I would have gone to the river. Awesome. Essa, I think I see your microphone connected now.
Yes.
Yes, hello, Essa, how are you?
Hello.
Okay, so what was your sentence? Can you say out loud for us again how you would finish this sentence?
As I said, I would have swimming easily. Is it correct?
Again, please, would you repeat?
And can you read the whole sentence for us? So you start with the if I knew how to swim, and then you finish.
If I knew how to swim, I would have swimming easily.
I couldn't hear that.
So he said, yeah, it was a little quiet. He said, if I knew how to swim, I would have swimming easily.
I would have swimming
easily.
Okay, actually it needs a little bit correction or a little bit change. Now you are using would have. What comes after the verb have here? Can you use the verb in ing?
It's okay if you're not sure.
Okay.
Yes, maybe.
Yes, please. No, actually, after the have a verb, we have the past participle. We have the verb in the past participle. So you have to say, I would have swum in the river or to the river. Okay?
Okay, I understand.
Yes. So I need to ask you like some questions, if you don't mind. I want to ask you about this sentence. In which tense and what time does it refer to?
Not sure.
Sorry?
I'm not sure.
What tense is this?
If I knew how to swim.
Yes.
So we look at the new. Do you know what tense new is in? So is this the present, the past participle? Is this the present continuous? Is it the past? What is it?
It is unreal, I think.
Yes, it is unreal.
Situation. Yeah, great.
So here, this past simple tense is used here to refer to present action. If I knew how to swim. Now,
It's past perfect.
No, this is past simple tense. Knew is the past simple of know. Okay?
Okay.
So we are using here the past simple tense to express a present action which is not real. If I now knew how to swim, what would have happened in the past? Yesterday, I was drowning because I don't know how to swim. So if I knew how to swim, I wouldn't have drowned yesterday. I'm still alive.
Oh yeah, Essa got muted again, but let me just make sure that this made sense to him. Essa, does it seem more clear now? Is it, do you understand some of the explanation?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Keep putting more questions that you have in the chat, please. And that's why we're connecting with you guys and seeing what you guys are saying, so we can help you get better. And the mixed conditionals are not easy, right? This is not an easy concept to get. So if it takes you a little while for all of you, if it takes you a couple times and it takes you time to get used to it, especially when we speak out loud, because that's when it's the quickest, that's okay, right? That's fine. And that'll happen to anyone that has to use these imaginary situations in their non-native language. So You guys are doing great, okay? And we're really getting a feel for who needs some extra help or who is understanding really well by the chat. So keep participating that way so we know who to be helping. Thank you so much, Essa, for coming out.
Yes, I just want you to bear in mind that this
Sorry
is
if I ask. It's my first time to come your lecture. When
Thank
do
you.
you?
We're so happy that you're here for the first time.
Yeah.
And what were you going to say, Lavna?
Which day you are making lectures? Can you tell me the time?
Yes. So we do these every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at the same time. Okay, so that's
Okay.
5 p.m. Madrid time, 8:30, I believe. No, I'm thinking.
That's a good lecture, really.
Yeah, I said that wrong. We have the times put in the English Without Borders group, so you can find it there in the announcements. Okay, Essa, thank you so much for participating. We appreciate it.
Okay, I just want you to remember that these rules of today are not very easy to comprehend from the first time, so they need much practice. So you have to accept that. And don't worry, you just need to practice. Just bear in mind that we have two halves here. The first half is in the second conditional, and the second half is in the third conditional. So we have here a combination between them. But it depends on what action we are representing and what result we are representing. If we are referring here to hypothetical past actions with present or future result, we have if plus third conditional, and the second part will be the second conditional. So the structure will go like that. If plus past perfect, which is related to the third conditional, and the second part will be would plus base form, which relates to the second conditional. And vice versa, if we have a hypothetical present or future action, if here now we are referring to a present or a future action which is not real, so we have the second conditional using the past simple tense, and the third conditional in the second half, which uses the would have plus past participle.
So if you guys are taking notes on this sort of stuff and you feel like mathematical or you have like a scientific kind of mind, when you see these things that are, it puts like different tenses and then a plus and then another tense and then past participle, etc. Be taking notes on that, or feel free to take screenshots of what you're seeing, right? So that you can have these notes for later. We all have different learning styles. So if you are a mathematical, a very logical, a scientific person, seeing these formulas will help you. And if you are someone that needs realistic scenarios and to use it yourself to think of how to do it, for example, that's me, then I need to see as many examples as possible of it in real text for me to be able to use it. So if you are that type of learner, then be writing down example sentences and breaking it down into, okay, this is the imaginary part, this is the real part, this would be the hypothetical results if it had happened. Okay, so take that in mind when you guys are taking notes, because we want you to know how to apply this afterwards and actually use it, not to just sit in class and then later forget it all, right? This is so that you can take advantage. So I just wanted to remind you all to make sure you're taking advantage of these really methodical and amazing notes that Lavna prepared for you, because they're outstanding.
Okay, let's have more examples about this part. Now we have a student, as you can see in the picture, who doesn't have any time. Okay, but we want to imagine if this student had more time, what would have happened in the past? This student doesn't have any time, and of course he didn't finish his work yesterday. So let's make it like a one sentence. If the student or the students, if they are more than one, if the students had more time, enough time, they would have finished their work yesterday. So now they don't have enough time. And of course, yesterday they didn't have enough time. So if they have enough time now, or if they had enough or more time, they would have finished their work yesterday. So focus on the structure of the sentence. In the first part, we have had more time. What tense is this?
Go ahead and put it in the chat. Kareem says past. Manda says past. Hagar
Yes.
says past participle. I see a
Is
past
this
perfect in
participle?
here.
Is this past simple or past participle?
I see past simple now, past simple.
Yes, this is past simple. We didn't say if the students had more time. So here we don't have a past participle. We have only the verb had. This means that this is the past tense of have. Okay, so if the students had more time, now in the present, this means that they don't have time in the present. So if this happened, or if they had enough time in the present, what would have happened in the past? They would have finished their work yesterday. They would have finished. This is actually the second part of the third conditional, would have plus the past participle, because it actually refers to the past here, yesterday. Okay, another example, but here hypothetical past and present result. Now this is vice versa. We have hypothetical past action and a present result, something that didn't happen, and consequently the present result doesn't exist. Okay, if you had recorded the show last night, okay, do you remember this structure from last time, the third conditional? If you had recorded the show last night, okay, stop here and tell me, if this is a third conditional, what will be the rest of the sentence? If you had recorded the show last night, give me a result which is also in the past.
Okay, so we're looking for a result also in the past. Reza asks, and this is a good question, is there any difference between would and could in this sentence?
No, actually you can use both of them, could, would, and might.
Yeah, so these are different modal verbs that we can use. And while other people are thinking about this question, there's actually another question before that I think was a very good thing for us to summarize what we've talked about until now. Yara asks us if we could mention the purpose of the mixed conditional. Why would we want to use this? Why is this important, Lavna?
Actually, you use them because sometimes, as we said before, you need to express a past action with a present result. And sometimes you have a present action with a past result. Not always, you don't always have like a case or a conditional in which you refer to the same time. You understand me? Sometimes you have the same conditional referring to the same time. If you had money, you would buy a house. These two parts are actually referring to the present. You don't have money and you don't, or you are not able to buy this house. Both of them are in the present. And also, if you are using the third conditional, both of the parts of the sentence are referring to the past action. If you, for example, or if whatever, if you had enough time yesterday, you would have finished your homework. So the past action, or the action, is in the past, and also the result, which didn't happen, is also in the past. But not always the same case. We have sometimes the past action, but which has a present effect. And sometimes we have the present action with a past effect. Okay, you understand? This is the function of the mixed conditionals. I know they are a bit difficult, but we use them.
Yeah, and this is because the English language, just like I'm sure you have equivalents in your own language, there are lots of varying levels of like fluidity, right? We can change the way we want to express ourselves, especially when talking about hypothetical situations. So when you are watching movies or reading books or listening to music, and you hear examples of this and you get confused because, oh, I thought this conditional was this and this was this, you're probably seeing mixed conditional examples. And we as native speakers, or as a native speaker myself, I can say that I use these all the time, and we use them in a lot of different situations, right? And it's very important to be able to express yourself on that next level. And if you want to build relationships with other English speakers, you can express so much more about your hopes, your dreams, your desires, what you would have done 5 years ago if you had had more money, or if you had moved abroad, or if you had spoken English before, you know? So you open up your mind to a whole new like level of depth. Exactly.
So here we have like an action. If you had recorded the show last night, imagine that now we are on a vacation and we don't have to do anything now. Okay, now we don't have anything to do. So here I'm talking to my friend. I'm like blaming her for not recording the show last night. If you had recorded the show last night, we could watch it now. So because you didn't record it already, we cannot watch anything on TV.
Sunil has a question actually about the sentence that we see here right now. So I'm going to find them. And oh, hi Marion, I just saw you. Hi, she's my friend from France. Nice to see you here. So I'm finding you, Sunil. Make sure your audio is connected so that when I unmute you, you are all good to go. Taking me a little while to find you. Okay, well, you can keep going, Lavna, I'm trying to find them.
Okay, I want to stop here at these examples and ask you a question. I want you to think, try to answer the following questions with a mixed conditional sentence. What is an important event that happened in your past? And if that event hadn't happened, how would your life be different right now?
And feel free to volunteer to come out and answer this question out loud, guys, because and it might be more difficult, and that's okay. And if you have to say it slowly and think through it and try a couple times, that's fine. That's why we're here to learn. So if you want to come out and practice out loud, please put your name in the chat. Oh, and while you're volunteering for that, Sunil, I just found him finally. So sorry I couldn't find you before. So I'm going to unmute his audio so he can ask us about the question that was, or the sentence that was on that past slide, if you don't mind, Lavna.
Hello. Thank you very much for unmuting me. The sentence which was presented about the conditional, and it was the third, there are 4 different conditions if I'm not wrong. And that was the 4th one we discussed about recording the video. Can you please present that so I can throw my query?
Yeah, so Lavna, can you go back 1 slide, please?
Yeah, sure. This one?
Yeah, I think, oh, Sunil got muted again. I'm not sure how.
And says,
This one, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
If you had recorded the show last night, we would watch it. That is the 4th, that is the 3rd condition, 0 condition, 1st condition, 2nd condition, and this is the 3rd condition if I'm not wrong. And where if you had recorded means the sentence go like subject you plus had plus past participle, means it is past perfect tense, but in the second sentence should be in the connection of this first sentence, and it should be would have plus past participle. That's what my previous knowledge helps me to understand.
Have you just joined the session? Have you missed the first part?
First part was, see, which condition, sorry for the direct question, ma'am, but which was the first session about? It was about the conditions only?
Okay, I will give you another example to make you understand. Let me find it. Just a minute. Okay, here, look at this, the first example. Look at this first example.
Yeah, that's correct. That's what I have studied. Okay. I had waken means past perfect, and the second one, I wouldn't have missed the bus. That is correct.
Yes.
Now,
Okay. Here in this sentence, if I had woken up earlier, I
hmm,
wouldn't have missed the bus. This is actually the third conditional,
yeah,
which refers to the past tense or the past time. I mean, the past time.
hmm,
Both the action and the
hmm,
result are in the past.
hmm,
The action, which is had woken up earlier, which didn't happen. I didn't wake up earlier.
hmm.
Okay, so if I had woken up earlier, I wouldn't have missed the bus. Did I miss or didn't the bus?
You missed that.
I missed it already, but I'm imagining if I had woken up earlier, I wouldn't have missed the bus. So
Possibilities.
yeah, both of them are in the past time. But here in the second sentence, if I had woken up earlier, which is still in the past, here the action is still in the past. But what about the result? I would be at work now. I'm not here talking about the past anymore. You understand me?
But is it grammatically correct sentence?
Yes, it is. Because it is not the third conditional, it is another kind of conditionals, which is called the mixed conditional. It mixes between the second and the third one. You understand?
Okay.
Does that make more sense to you, Sunil, than before, or are you still a little confused?
I never heard of mixed conditional in my school, and where I teach zero, first, second, and third conditions only. We never discussed this, the mixed conditionals. So
Yeah, great. So the mixed conditionals are very important then. So I recommend you go back, and this video is being recorded and streamed in the
sure, I'll
English
do.
Supporters group. Yeah, so go ahead and watch the beginning of it again when we're finished with this call.
Sorry for the question without knowing the previous video,
Yeah,
previous
no
recording.
worries, no worries. I'm sure someone else had the same doubts, so don't worry, Sunil. Thank you for coming out with your question.
Okay.
Yeah, and we will start wrapping up, right? Because we only have a couple minutes left for class. So we'll let Lavna get back to her more important points to finish off class.
Yes, so the most important points that I have to use today, or that I have to tell you now, is that the mixed conditionals are actually combining the two kinds of if conditionals, the second and the third. So in all the mixed conditionals, we have the first part in one of them, and the second part is the other kind. Second and third, or third and second. You understand me? Okay, I want here now to give you some exercises to check your understanding. Are you ready? I want you to choose the correct answer now. Please focus. If I so much cheese last night. Okay, before you continue reading, I want you to tell me what time is this? Here in the if clause, in the action clause, we have what time? What time do we have? Are you there following? I cannot follow your chat. Yes, this is the past simple. Yeah, past time. Yeah, excellent. If I so much cheese last night. So I told you before that if you are referring to a past action, what tense are you gonna use? Excellent, the past perfect tense. So if I hadn't eaten so much cheese last night. Okay, look at the rest of the sentence. What is the tense here used? I wouldn't feel terrible now. Okay, do you get it? So if here we have this tense, or if this sentence expresses the third conditional, we wouldn't use this structure like this. Okay, so we would have said, if I hadn't eaten so much cheese last night, I wouldn't have felt terrible yesterday. Okay, this if we are using here the third conditional, but here we are using the mixed. So we have a past action, or a past or imaginary action with a present result now. I wouldn't feel terrible now. So that means that I already feel terrible now. Okay, number two. We late if you hadn't taken such a long time getting ready. So what happened? What already happened? Excellent. We wouldn't be late. So now in the present, we are already late. So we wouldn't be late if you hadn't taken such a long time getting ready. So here in the past action, we have to use the past perfect tense. Okay, let's move to another sentence. If my grandmother alive, she would have loved to see me graduate.
I see we're alive, we're.
Excellent. Were alive. Were alive. Okay, because she is not alive, actually, she is dead now, but we are imagining that if she were alive, what would have happened? What would she done? What would she have done in the past? She would have loved to see me graduate. Number 4, if I had bought that flat then. This is in the past. If I had bought that flat, what would happen now?
I see a lot of would-be's. I see one had been.
No, actually,
Two had been.
Yeah, the majority said would be.
Yep.
Yes, now it would be worth a lot of money. Okay, these are some sentences for you. Okay, they are only 2. Okay, please do these 2 sentences as a homework, and please type your answers in the comments under this video. If you have any questions, please type them in the comments also.
Yeah, so if you have any last minute questions, please let us know now. That would be great. And we really appreciate you guys being here. I want you all to give a warm thank you to Labna for helping us out today. She is so good at explaining things very methodically in a way that is difficult for me sometimes as a native speaker. Issa asks if we can send this by PDF. So this whole presentation is, the recording is on the English Without Borders group. So you can go back and watch any point in time, see the slides with her presentation. So I hope that we helped resolve some of your doubts today, some of your questions, but remember that this takes time, okay? Pasquale says it was a great explanation. Tree says thanks. Manda says thanks. So Fernanda says Labna, great lesson. So yeah, she was really great, and I'm looking forward to having her do some more things with us in the future as well. We have a really great set of teachers that is they're starting to connect with us and help us with all of this. And guys, so that you can practice using these out loud, please come to our next Zoom that we have on Friday at the same time. Again, we put the links in the group chat, so, or in the group for English Without Borders. So you can go there, find the link, join, and it'll be a discussion class on Friday. So everyone's just talking. And when we're talking, I am going to be intentionally asking you different questions about hypotheticals, about imaginary situations. So it might be difficult at first, but try and force yourself to speak and respond with those tenses, and me and other native speakers that will be on the call and other teachers will be here to help correct you and help you learn how to do it better, okay? But this time through spoken word. Some people learn better through presentations and through note-taking. I need that a lot. I love note-taking and seeing examples, but then we need to actually apply those examples to our speaking, because if you can read and write perfectly, that's great, but we need to be able to have conversations with people too and really connect with others by using these different mixed conditionals. So I see a lot more thank yous to Labna, a lot of love for Labna. So thank you so much, guys, for being here and for being great students and interacting a lot. And we look forward to seeing you again next time. Do the homework that Labna said by putting it in your answers in the chat of this video afterwards. And I can't wait to see you guys on Friday for our discussion class. Okay, see you all soon. Bye, everyone.